So did you hear that a bag of Cheetos, yeah, a bag of Cheetos just like this one nearly wrecked an entire ecosystem? Huh? I know it sounds crazy, but the ripple effects of one careless moment can be devastating. Today I'm going to tell you all about it. I'm going to bring it close to home, and I hope that you'll see the parallel. Hey, you got the Wingman here. Hope you're doing well. So what am I talking about today? How can a little bag of Cheetos like that wreak havoc on an entire ecosystem? Well, it did. Where? Inside of Carlsbad Caverns out in New Mexico. How? Well, nobody knows for sure, but a visitor dropped a bag, I'm almost positive it was open, in what's called the big room of Carlsbad Caverns. It's an enormous, beautiful spectacle of nature. It's gorgeous. Now, as with most things in nature, Carlsbad Caverns is a fragile place. An ecosystem that's been in place, it's been around for eons. So, you may think, no big deal. I mean, somebody probably dropped the Cheetos by accident and continued walking on. But that's where the story takes an interesting turn. And I'd like to know what your takeaway is in the comment section of the video. So you might think that the Cheetos just, I don't know, sat there on the ground and would slowly dissolve. No big deal. But what really happened, those little Cheetos from that little bag, in just a matter of seconds, they became the breeding ground, the perfect breeding ground for microbes and fungi. And the problem is that mold, it can spread mold throughout the cavern. And it didn't take long until these little cave crickets and mites and spiders and, I don't know, tiny little flies, they formed sort of a food web, if you will, around those innocent little Cheetos on the ground. And that began the process of transforming a very fragile ecosystem. Now hang on, just bear with me, please. I'm going to bring this all together. The rangers did clean up the mess, but the damage was already done. You might say, no big deal, Wingman, but I'm telling you, the ecosystem that had been in perfect harmony forever, I guess, it changed, and it's been disrupted, and it will leave a mark. But the deal is, this story isn't about caves, not about Cheetos. It's about us, all of us, and it's happening everywhere. Whether we realize it or not, there are things going on around us that will have a profound impact on the future of, well, everything, I guess. From something that may take a long time to reveal the consequences of, to those, I don't know, black swan events that can change things like right away. 9/11 comes to mind, and so does COVID-19 and the pandemic. Those big things we can't do anything about. But you know what? It's the little, small, unconscious acts that can have a huge consequence, negative consequence. Take campgrounds, for example. You pull in, set up, settle down for a good weekend, and life is great. But how often do you stop and think about what you're leaving behind? Seriously, I'll bet that most folks who are watching this video err on the side of whether they say no trace left behind or leave it better than you found it. But you know there are those other folks who leave a little bit of trash, leftover food on the ground, plastic bottle caps, big dirty from their dogs they didn't pick up. When that happens, well, you know what happens. All these things add up, and the beauty of the landscape changes, and not for the better. It's not just campgrounds either. Our neighborhoods and cities, heck, our entire country, all of it is affected by what we do, whether we mean to or not. And you know what? Most of the time, we don't even see it happening. Like the person in Carlsbad Caverns who didn't think twice probably about dropping the bag of Cheetos. I believe that most of the time we don't even realize the long-term damage some of our everyday actions make. Think about your neighborhood. One little piece of litter can lead to another piece of litter. A neglected yard can, well, it invites more neglect. And before you know it, the place that you call home starts to lose its sense of pride, its sense of community. It's slow. I know it's slow. It's subtle, but it's real. If you take it to an even bigger scale, our country. Doesn't it seem like we've lost sight of the bigger picture? We don't always think about our choices to take action or not, how it will affect not just us, but the environment, the economy, and even our future generations. It's the same story as with the Cheetos in Carlsbad Caverns, just on a larger scale for sure. I mean, do you see that? Let me know. The truth is that we are all leaving a trace of something. And that's not just a physical thing either, like a bag of Cheetos. It's our attitude. It's the way we treat others. It's about respect and understanding. The question is, what kind of trace are we leaving behind as Americans? Are we making things better, or are we just adding to the mess? I don't want to make today's monologue some kind of a guilt trip. I don't. It's really nothing more than a call to awareness. Because if we don't stop and think about our actions and what they can lead to, if we don't recognize that even the smallest choices have a ripple effect, we risk losing the very things we love. At least that's the way I see it. The good news, just as easily as we can screw something up, we can also protect and restore it. Every decision, no matter how small it is an opportunity for us to do better. Whether it's picking up a piece of trash at the campground or realizing that open borders and letting millions of people who do not share our American values, it all adds up. If we do nothing, if we ignore it, well, let's just wait and see what happens. So the next time that you're out there, whether it's in a campground or your neighborhood, if you're watching a news story and you're seeing that flood of newcomers crossing our border, the lesson here is simple. Everything we do, everything has an impact, whether we see it or not. If today's message makes any sense at all, type 1. If you're wondering, what in the heck is the Wingman trying to say today? Type 2. I do look forward to your comments. Y'all be safe, have fun, play nice, and don't leave your good manners at home. I'll see you next time.